Because you most likely are watching this before going to sleep, I've kept the lighting calm and dim and hopefully relaxing to watch. I hope my voice doesn't put you to sleep, but actually maybe that's a good thing. As we're talking about my space, the first thing that I would mention in order to get a really good quality night's sleep is your surroundings. What is your sleeping space like? Can you somehow separate your sleep zone so that it's only for sleeping? I luckily have a hock bed, we say in German. So you go up some steps to this sleeping area and there is just a bed. We have some reading material and a light. And that's it, because I find that once I mix up my sleeping zones, working from the room that I sleep in, I can't disassociate from that work. So some separation is really valuable. And even certain things that I discuss with my partner, I don't discuss them here in this room. If I start bringing up worries and stressful things from the day, I just keep them to myself and I wait until we're outside of the bedroom area, because I just want this place to be a peaceful zone that we associate with calm and relaxation. Also, I've kept everything white because there's just no distractions. I like to feel like I'm waking up in a cloud. So having a tidy room is also great for sleeping. I can't see any of the mess downstairs in the actual room. All I can see is this. If you're having trouble sleeping, you've probably heard all of the tips like no phones before bed, that sort of thing. So I will briefly go over those in case you haven't heard them before, but I wanted to dive into some more, maybe more niche things that you hadn't heard of. And one of those would be mouth breathing. It sounds funny, but if we open our mouth while we're sleeping and maybe we snore, it can wake us up. We are not getting enough oxygen in, so then our body will force us to wake up so that we can take better breath. So having an open mouth while you're sleeping can disrupt your sleep. It disrupts the quality of your sleep, and therefore you may feel more tired and groggy the next day. Even though you slept 8 hours, it might not be as good a quality sleep as it could be because your mouth was open. Are we ever taught this at school or when we're growing up? No, I've literally never heard of this up until my adult days. There are some strips that you can buy, like plastic stickers that you can put over your mouth. They're called mouth tape. But I didn't like the idea of having disposable plastic that you throw away every day. So I looked into it and I found these snoring masks. This sounds crazy, but wait, try this for one night and see how you go. I'll show you it. It looks very silly. Before I go to sleep, I literally just put my face in it. This looks mad. And that just keeps my mouth up. So I can't open it during the night. And I'm not using any plastic. This I just buy once and then I have it. Be aware of the temperature of your room. You don't want it too hot, you don't want it too cold. I definitely wouldn't recommend having any radiators on. Keep things as cool as possible. There is a reason why it's suggested to take a bath or a shower before you go into bed, and that is because your body temperature rises in the bath, in the shower, and then when you get out, it plummets. And our temperatures naturally plummet slightly before sleep time. And this is to get our body in the zone of sleep. So taking a bath or shower is going to give you that rapid decrease in temperature of your core body temperature. I definitely notice that if I wear something that is too thick, or if my duvet is too thick for the season, I cannot sleep. I wake up in the night, I'm too hot. So I found the perfect thickness of a pajama top. This isn't actually a pajama top at all, but I've tried wearing other tops, and if they're just a little bit too thick, I get so hot. So really, you just want to be wearing as little as possible. Interestingly enough, I have read in my sleep book that I'm reading, this is where I'm getting a lot of my knowledge from, and I also have a video inspired from this book about whether napping is good and healthy for you. So this is Matthew Walker's Why We Sleep. He mentions when you see kids with their arms and legs splayed out of the covers, and this is actually to decrease our body temperature, our core body temperature. So we're kind of doing that to cool down. So even actions like washing your face before you go to sleep, with cold water, can help you go to sleep, which is, in my opinion, mad, but also really fascinating. Quickly jumping in to also point out that amongst these physical tips, we also need to take consideration the mental side of things. If there are underlying traumas or issues or anxieties, they may need to be supported by a therapist or a close friend or a family member, someone you trust, so that when you go to sleep, you can switch off. For some people, meditation works. Other people, not so much, but find your way of clearing the mind. I personally like to do a yoga Nidra sleep meditation, which is a guided meditation that runs you through your body parts and brings you back to your physical self rather than your mental chatter in your head. Another thing I like to do is think of really boring menial tasks. This is something that I've found just helps me drift off because it's ultimately so boring. For example, I maybe will run through all the furniture in my apartment, or I will take washing out of the washing machine and hang it on a line. I just run through these sort of mechanical processes in my head and I fall asleep. So I'm not saying that will work for everyone, but everyone will have their way of shutting down and not thinking about the past, future, just thinking presently of your body, or creating a scenario in your head that's so boring that you will fall asleep. Next up is lighting. Obviously, when it's daytime, we feel awake. But because of electricity that we have in our modern day, our bodies still think it's daytime in the evening. So we're not settled for sleeping. When there wasn't electricity, we probably would have got tired when it got dark. And I did realise this when I went camping. Me and my boyfriend both noticed it, that we were exhausted. And when we looked at the time, it was only 9 p.m, but actually we'd been in the darkness for 3 hours already, so our bodies knew that it was time to sleep. So keep your lighting as dim as possible in the evening. Maybe use a candle or just use like a more warm tone. If you have street lights outside, or maybe even the moon is shining brightly, you want to stop that light from entering the room. One of the ways I combat this is with an eye mask, so that wherever I go, I know I'm going to get a good night's sleep if I have this with me. I also find that the weight on top of my eyes just helps me feel safe and secure, and I'm dead to the world with this on. So this is made from organic cotton. It's from a really nice seller on Avocado Store. I've mentioned it before in my napping video, but I have a link in my description if you want to check it out. Light is a good segue onto technology because, as you probably know, the blue light emitted from digital screens affects our melatonin and then affects our abilities to sleep. So what I would advise is to have your screens on yellow tint. You can change it, have it to the warmest option you can. I do that throughout the whole day because I just think, why let it affect me? I don't think you can do that for TVs, can you? That would be interesting to know. But definitely on your phone and laptop. Don't bring your phone to bed. This is a no phone area. Phones are not allowed here. We leave our phones in the living room, which is on the other side of the apartment. I definitely didn't used to do this, especially when I was doing long distance. I would have my phone right by me because I would have probably had a phone call before bed. I would have been checking messages and use it as an alarm clock. But now I find that I don't necessarily need an alarm clock. We do have one, I'll show it. Where is it? Ooh. I just have a really old-fashioned alarm clock. Which brings me to my number one tip. Aim to go to bed and wake up at the same time every day, because our bodies have a circadian rhythm, and once it knows what's happening, it will do its thing. Also, you know when you get that really tired feeling and then you ignore it and then suddenly you feel wide awake? That's almost like a second wind. And you don't want to get to that point, because that second wind is your body thinking, oh, I'm doing an all-nighter. I need to like gear up and get pumped. And then you can't go to sleep when you finally do get in the bed. So when you're tired, listen to your body and go to bed. Don't wait until you feel wide awake again and then try to go to sleep. As we're still on the subject of technology, if you have your Wi-Fi router near to your bedroom or in your bedroom, definitely unplug it. This is debatable. My partner doesn't agree with me, but I definitely do not sleep as well when our router is plugged in into our bedroom, when it's directly underneath my bed. I do not have a good night's sleep. I could sleep the whole night, but I wake up and I feel tired and I feel groggy and I don't feel like I've had a good quality night's sleep. So try unplugging that, see if it helps, because the electromagnetic field could have an effect. That's all I'm saying. There's no harm in trying, and also you're probably saving electricity anyway. Generally, it's better to have a lighter dinner and not have something so heavy just before you go to bed, because then your body is going to be focusing on digesting and it's basically awake, you know, it has work to do, and we want to give it a rest and just be focusing on the sleeping. So if you can, eat a little bit earlier, and if you are hungry before bed, there are a few snacks that I like to have that don't affect my sleep. So one of those is almond butter and banana. It can't be a sleep video if we don't mention caffeine. It really depends how good your liver is at processing caffeine. Some people are super sensitive, others can have a cup of coffee before they go to sleep and they're completely fine. For me personally, I am super sensitive to caffeine and I don't drink any coffee or tea because it just doesn't suit me, and my liver is maybe not so good at processing those toxins. But if you are having trouble sleeping, maybe do consider not having any caffeine after lunch. Maybe only in the morning, and test out if you do have a good sleep without the coffee, how far can you go. Even sometimes chocolate, if I have chocolate too late at night, especially dark chocolate that I like, that has a caffeine content. Same for Coke, what else? Kombucha has caffeine. No for after lunch. Now if you've made it this far and none of those options you think will work, consider magnesium. Magnesium is something we're most likely all deficient in because our soil quality has decreased in the last 100 years. And magnesium is a muscle relaxant, but I would only advise taking this under the supervision of a nutritionist because there are different qualities, there's lots of different types, and you want to make sure you're having the best quality one, because otherwise it can be a laxative, which is fine if maybe you're a little bit constipated, but not so much if you have no problem in that area. So you need to find one that works for you, and it needs to be the utmost best quality. So I would advise getting in touch with a nutritionist if you want to take magnesium. Of course, you also want to have really cozy bedding and feel really comfortable in your bed space. Something I've been working on is upgrading my sleep area slowly because it can be expensive when you invest in it. I have upgraded, firstly, my pillows, which I'm excited to show you. So I did some research, and because my partner has allergies to pollen, I wanted to get some sort of pillow that wouldn't stir off some reaction, because a lot of the ethical pillow insides are made from plant material, which is great because it's vegan, but also if you do have allergies it might flare those up. This pillow has organic cotton outside, and inside, ooh, it's sheep wool. And when you order this, it actually takes 6 weeks to arrive because each one is made to order. This sheep's wool absorbs moisture naturally. So like obviously if you're sweating, this keeps things nice and clean, because obviously on a sheep it needs to keep the sheep cool. The company is called Memento. One thing to note is they are quite long, but then they spread out across the whole bed, which I also like, and they do still fit a standard pillowcase. Now, if none of these tips work, do get in touch with your doctor, a medical healthcare professional, to assess your symptoms and really help you. There are like sleep specialists, as I found out in this book. Otherwise, I wish you a really good night's sleep with no interruption and waking up the next morning feeling absolutely refreshed. If you like this video, please subscribe, check out my other videos are all around health and wellness, and see you in my next video. Happy sleeping, good night.